Hey, my name is Jimmy Fung. I'm the founder of a lead generation agency called Salesway.io. In today's video, I really wanted to break down kind of the three key focus areas, the three key pillars of building your own lead generation agency, right? So the reason I'm making this video is because I know when I was first getting started, I was just really confused, and maybe you are as well. And the reason behind that is because there's a bunch of people online, there's a bunch of these different gurus telling you to, in order to hit $10,000 a month inside your own business, you need to focus on this, you need to focus on that, you need to focus on 1,000 other things. But they all tell you to do all these things, but I haven't really seen people really break down what the key pillars are of your business. Because realistically, if someone tells you to, let's say you have to go build your own website, you have to go build your own landing page, you gotta pick a really good name, all of this BS, while those things are fundamentally important, they are not needle moving activities inside of your business. Meaning you building your website is not going to help you sign your first client. It's not gonna help you sign your second client. And it most certainly will not help you get to $10,000 a month, right? Those things are important, but at least as a complete beginner, if you are trying to get to $10,000 a month, if you're starting from zero and get to $10,000 a month in the quickest way possible, you just have to make sure those things are done, but you shouldn't really be focusing on those things. So I wrote this video, I made this video, hopefully to give you more clarity on every single day when you wake up from your bed, you are able to embark on your business journey and you understand, oh, I have to focus on this, I have to focus on this, and I have to focus on this. There's really only 3 things which I'll be covering throughout this video. And if you're able to just focus on those 3 things and really focus, keyword is focus, then I guarantee that you will make money inside your business in a relatively quick period of time. I know for myself, once I understood these things, I was able to go from zero to $10,000 a month in 22 days. I did that at end of last year in 2022, in December 2022. I have a whole other video on my Instagram breaking that down, but hopefully you find this video helpful. If you do find it helpful, make sure you follow my Instagram page. I do post a lot more business insights that you may find valuable, and please make sure you comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments section below. I do check my Instagram DMs a little bit more often because I have it downloaded on my phone and it's a little bit easier to reply back to you guys. But if you have any questions, make sure you drop that down below on my Instagram or on my comment section, and hope you enjoyed this video and find it valuable. Bye-bye. Hey, so in this video, I wanted to break down exactly what you need to do in order for your agency to grow. These are kind of the key focus areas, and the reason I'm making this video is because I understand that if you're a complete beginner and you're looking to start your lead generation agency, there's so much noise on the internet. So much noise telling you to focus on this, focus on that, build your website, do all of this BS. But realistically, all of that stuff, even though it might work and you should probably think about those things, what it actually does is it creates a lot of confusion inside of your own mind. So I wanted to record this video to hopefully help you clear up some of those things, hope you get more clarity out of what you need to do and what your key focus areas should be. Basically, this video, I want to just break down the 3 main pillars of your lead generation agency, and the overarching idea on a lot of these videos, a lot of the stuff I'm saying is don't overthink it, because realistically making money in a business, it shouldn't be hard. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, but it should be simple. It's simple but not easy. And I want to clear up a lot of confusion and hopefully help you cut through the noise so that you're able to scale and make $10,000 a month the quickest amount of time possible. So the number 1 reason why I personally think a lot of people take too long to get to $10,000 a month is because they're just confused. There's way too much noise and they just don't know what to do, right? There's a bunch of people telling them to do this, do that, and they don't know what specific actions to take to focus on in order to grow the business. Once I was able to understand these 3 things, I was able to grow my own lead generation agency, get it from $0 a month to $10,000 a month in 22 days. I did that in December 2022, last year, December. And I was able to do it really quickly because I understood how the business works. I understood how and what specifically to focus on to grow my agency every single day when I wake up. So I want you to remember these 3 pillars and don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and don't overthink. So the 3 pillars that I want to talk to you about today is number 1, generating sales calls. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is closing deals. And the third pillar is service delivery. So focus on these three areas and ignore all the noise. Everything that you do will group into one of these three buckets, and just make sure whatever you're doing, if you're waking up and let's say you're setting up email domains, or you're setting up your website, if whether I'm telling you to do that or someone else is telling you that, make sure you understand which of these three buckets that action is falling under, and make sure you understand that with full clarity. And if it doesn't fall under any of these three buckets, then my advice to you is just don't do those things, because they're probably not that important and not needle moving activities. So hope you understand that. So jumping right into it, in terms of generating sales calls. So this is pillar number one. How do you actually book meetings? How do you actually generate leads? How do you book sales calls? And I think this is where most people really get caught up, because it's people overcomplicate the process. That's what I think. And really, it is only the beginning of your lead generation agency, or if you're running any form of agency, booking sales calls is only the first third part of your business. It's important, but not that important, in the sense where there's other things that are really, really important as well. So don't overthink this section. I need you to understand that humans have existed for thousands of years before us and thousands of years after us. After we're all gone and stuff like this, it becomes extremely relevant, right? And you need to understand that businesses have existed since the dawn of human history, and every single one of those businesses, if that is if they're making money at least, and they didn't just fold before they made the first dollar, each one of those businesses have found a way to make sales. They have found a way to find people who are interested in the products or the services. So you need to understand that 500 years ago, before internet existed, those merchants selling different things, they still found a way to sell the products. If they're selling a shirt, they found a way to find people who want a shirt, and they found a way to sell it. So it really isn't that it's really not that complicated, right? So there's a lot of noise online telling you of all these fancy things, fancy tricks, all these marketing tricks and gimmicks, right? People tell you, oh, this is the new secret strategy to book more meetings, to get more leads, right? But realistically, booking and generating sales calls, it really comes down to the following two things. And the first thing is, number one, having a product and service that people actually want. So that's the first point. And the second thing is getting in front of as many people as humanly possible. So basically getting as much attention as you can. It's really as simple as that. Those are really the only two things you have to master and really understand. And once you figure out how to balance both of those two things, you will be printing meetings and you will be booking sales calls and generating a ton of leads. So in terms of having a product and service that people want, it's relatively simple as well, right? You do this by pretty much crafting an irresistible offer. Essentially, this is your short 10-second elevator pitch, telling people what you do, how you help them, and the expected end result from your service or your product. So figuring out what the problem that your prospect is having is the key, right? If you don't understand what problems or what challenges the people that you want to reach out to, that you're trying to sell to, if you don't understand that, then you're going to have a really challenging time, right? Because if you're selling, let's say you're selling an umbrella to someone who lives in the desert, then you could be selling your umbrella for $5 when all the other umbrellas are $50, for example, and you still won't get any sales, right? You could discount, you could give it away for free, and I guarantee people will still be like, nah, I don't really need that umbrella in the desert. So you need to make sure you understand what the problem is. You need to make sure you understand what your market wants, and as a result, you want to deliver something, deliver a solution that your audience wants. And this is exactly why I personally believe lead generation as a service is one of the best offers, one of the best services that you can sell. Because realistically, when we're reaching out to people, our audience are B2B businesses. And every single business in the world, in the earth, regardless of the economy, regardless of anything else, every single business on the planet, they need more leads. And in extension, they need more customers and they need more sales. So what I'm trying to say is this is kind of a service that will always be in demand regardless of any external factors. And in my opinion, it's just one of the best services point blank to sell. The other thing that makes this service really, really good, in my opinion, is that the result is also extremely tangible and is clearly linked to a desirable end result. So when we're approaching these companies, if we're selling lead generation as a service, we're basically saying, hey, we will help you book, let's say 10 qualified sales calls. That's kind of our offer. That's exactly what we do in a tangible end result, booking 10 sales calls. But the result of booking 10 sales calls, it's directly correlated to helping the businesses, helping those business owners make money. So if they're selling, let's say, a service for $5,000, by you booking 10 sales calls for that business owner, if they're closing, let's say 10%, which is relatively low, let's say the closing rate is 10%, they're still able to make $5,000. So by you telling these business owners, hey, we will help you book 10 qualified sales calls, in their own mind, they will directly hear it as, hey, we will help you make $5,000. And that's exactly why I personally think lead generation as a service is truly the best business model, the best offer, and the best service to be selling. Now, the second point, after you figure out that, you figure out the equation of selling what people want, selling something people want, is getting in front of as many people as humanly possible. So this entire section is basically about getting attention. So basically what you'll be doing is you'll be using organic outbound strategies. So basically channels that where in theory, you can reach out to people for essentially free. And obviously the way I teach cold emails is we want to do it by volume to a degree. And it's very unrealistic. Like there's just no way that you're manually sending 1,000 cold emails a day. So obviously that part of the system is automated, but at its core, sending emails is free. Technically speaking, I could email you right now. It might take me like 2 minutes, but I could do that completely for free. Technically, if you have a LinkedIn profile and I find you, I could shoot you over a LinkedIn message completely for free. Technically, if I have your phone number, I could pick up the phone, I could dial you, and I could call you, and I'll be able to talk directly with you for free. So in the beginning, I recommend people and I teach people to book meetings and reach out to people using cold emails as a channel. And the reason why I do this is because cold emails allows us to reach thousands of business owners, so essentially your target, who you're trying to sell your service to, and you're able to get across in a very quick and a very relevant, targeted, and scalable way. There's no other channel, organic channel at least, that I have found that allows you to reach thousands of people. You will not be able to send 1,000 cold DMs a day, whether that's Instagram or LinkedIn. And if you do find a way, what you will need to do is you will need to hire people to send messages on your behalf, because platforms like Instagram, platforms like Meta and Facebook, platforms like LinkedIn, they have very strict requirements. I know LinkedIn always updates the restrictions. And the last time I looked at it, you could only send 30 messages, outbound messages on LinkedIn a day, right? So obviously it becomes very unscalable if you're trying to send 1,000 messages. Now, on the other hand, cold calling is also very unscalable in the sense where you won't be able to cold call 1,000 people because there's a time constraint to that. You might be able to call 100 people, maybe 200 if you're having a good day, but you won't be able to call 1,000 people because it just simply takes too much time. Meanwhile, cold emails as a channel is very leveraged. Assuming you're able to automate the system the way I teach you to using smartly.ai, you warm up everything, you have deliverability, stuff like that. In theory, you will be able to reach out to thousands of people every single day. Obviously, the more email accounts you have, the more people you can reach out to. In theory, if your market is large enough and you have the resources to set up a ton of email accounts, you can literally reach out to 10,000 businesses every single day. Now, obviously, that proposed an entirely different set of challenges, which I won't really cover today. But in theory, you can. And that's exactly why I think cold email is one of the best, if not the best, organic outbound channel, right? Because you're able to get in front of so many people in a short time frame. You're able to get feedback on your offer. You're able to learn about your target audience quickly, and essentially you're able to fail in a low stress environment because due to the cost efficiency of cold emails, right? You can set up an email account right now. You can set up on Outlook 365 Business Basic on Microsoft, and it'll cost you $6 a month, right? So if you spend, let's say you go 30 days, you send a ton of emails and it just flops your campaign, you're not really losing that much in the sense where it doesn't take you that much time. So you won't feel like you're burning your time, and is not going to cost your wallet too much relative to other channels. So once you get cold emails down, you will then look into using LinkedIn DMs, social media outreach, which again, similar to what I mentioned, is similar to cold emails in the sense where it's technically free, it's technically organic. However, one thing you need to do is you need to be able to incorporate a level of conversational flow that is not present with emails. Because let's say you message me on Instagram, everyone is saying something slightly different. And if you're asking me a question, I need to be able carry that conversation, right? It's not a plug and play type of template that a lot of people tell you online. That's just simply not how it works. You have to make sure you understand how to have conversational while moving the conversation forward towards your objective, which is booking a sales call. After you figure that out, you will also incorporate cold calling, which is highly effective. In my opinion, it's one of the most effective channels. But again, similar to what I mentioned, it's extremely unscalable because there's a simple time constraint on your time. You just can't cold call 1,000 people. And the reason why I find it to be very, very effective is because you're able to talk with your target audience and get a definitive yes, I'm interested, or definitive no, I'm not interested. And you're able to do this over a 30-second to a 1-minute phone call. But again, it's just very unscalable, right? But obviously, after you get to a certain point in your business, let's say you're making 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, now you have the resources to go and hire people who are able to make cold calls on your behalf. Now you're able to have the resources to go and hire appointment setters who will send these LinkedIn messages or send, these social media messages on Instagram or Facebook or whatever on your behalf. But in the beginning, if you don't have resources like that, you don't have cash to spend to invest in your business like that, just do cold emails because that's a system you can manage yourself and it'll take you 2 to 3 hours a day max to do it. Realistically, it'll take you less. I know for myself, I now at this point in my business, I have an inbox manager who basically replies back to all of my emails, replies back to all of my clients' emails, and it takes them like an hour a day. And I hired this virtual assistant from Philippines. I'm paying her $5 Canadian an hour, and it's just very effective. And I'm waking up with new meetings every single day, stuff like that, right? But the most important thing is I don't want you to overthink this. Again, back to that theme, don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple. You need to remember, and I know for myself, I'm a pretty young person, and while I was in high school, I actually tried making money from like selling different things online, like flipping furnitures, flipping shoes, flipping phones, stuff like that. And speaking from experience, if you've ever sold, let's say, your old phone or your old car or old sofa or something like that, and you sold it on Facebook Marketplace, where you just made a post with pictures about it, and you're basically like, if you're interested, I'm selling this phone for $300. Let me know if you're interested, message me, something like that. If you ever made a post and people message you asking if it was available, you probably didn't need to consume 10 plus hours of content teaching you how to reply back to these people, right? You just kept it very conversational. If you're selling stuff on Kijiji or eBay, people are asking a question, you're replying back, and you're moving the conversation forward, and it's a very natural thing. You didn't have to read hundreds of books, consume hundreds of content in order to understand how to do that, right? Now, obviously, what I'm saying to this is you have to understand there is a nuance to this, because at the end of the day, this really does come down to a bit of skill and a bit of strategy. But what I'm telling you is people just want to talk with other real people, and everyone has their own unique way of conversing with other people. So don't overcomplicate this with all these fancy tricks or with all the new marketing gimmicks, because at the end of the day, just keep in mind, people want to talk with a real person. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is closing deals. So this is kind of where I think the money is made. So once people are interested in chatting with you, they have a problem and they want to talk with you over a Zoom call or Google Meets call or whatever you use to do your video calls, you are basically hopping on that call to chat with them. Again, I see a lot of people get really caught up in the fancy sales tricks. There's a bunch of gurus online. Maybe you saw a bunch of videos on your TikTok feed of some sales guru telling you, oh, what to say when your prospect says this, when they say that, when they say this is too expensive, right? And while all of those tricks, they might work for them, it might work for some other people, I have a completely different philosophy. So I got personally really caught up in this and inside that rabbit hole of figuring all of these different tricks. And after doing this myself, I just realized something that was really key. That was more powerful than any trick or anything you could possibly say. And that trick is you need to flip your mindset. Basically, you need to go into that call understanding that you are not convincing them of anything. You are not persuading them to buy anything, and you are not there to overcome anything. So when people say overcoming objections, I really don't like that term because that puts you in a mindset of you have to come up with a rebuttal. Someone says, I'm not interested, I have to talk to my wife, anything like that. And the first thing you think about is, oh, what can I say that's really smart that will get them to change their mind, persuade them otherwise? And that is, in my opinion, a very toxic mindset and why so many people struggle with sales. Rather, what I realized is you need to go into each of those sales calls, each of those calls with the mindset of hey, these are busy business owners. You know, if you're selling lead generation as a service, you're talking about business owners. These are very busy people. And if they set up 30 minutes on my calendar to talk with me, then maybe they have a problem or a deep challenge in their business related to generating leads or generating sales, right? I know for myself, I'm pretty busy as a business owner. And if someone just randomly messaged me and said, hey, let's chat for 30 minutes, I'd probably be like, nah, I'm good, right? What do you want from me, right? Because I don't want to jump on a 30-minute call to talk about bullshit, right? If I'm jumping on that call, I have a problem. I have something I want to get solved and I want to talk about it. And you might be the same, right? If someone just randomly said, hey, John, let's chat, you'd probably be like, what about? And if that's not something that you want to chat about, you'd be like, no, thanks, I'm not interested. So that's the mindset you have to adopt, is these people are on a call because they have a problem and they think you may have the potential solution that solves the problem for them. So once you adopt this mindset, sales will become so much easier for you. I know it did for me. It really changed my mindset because half the battle is just in here, what you think about it. And that's really just how business works. It's all about your mindset and how you think about it. But that's a completely different story. So once you're jumping on these sales calls, what you basically have to understand is you're on these calls to, number one, to find out and to see if they have a problem in their business. And if they do have a problem in their business, the second thing is, can you help them solve it? Yes or no, right? And obviously, if the answer is no, they don't have a problem, or the answer is no, they don't have a problem you can solve, then just say respectfully, you know, I don't think we could help you at this time. Thanks for your time. Take care and hang up and move on with your day, right? So that's the mindset you kind of have to have. Now, keep in mind that there is a reason, you know, I'm saying all of this stuff, but there is a reason why top salespeople can literally make millions of dollars a year. Sales is probably one of the highest paying jobs in the world. If you're really, really good at it, if you're a top 10% salesperson, right, you will make millions a year, because selling at the end of the day is a skill. And there are different nuances of going about doing it that you will develop with time, right? And maybe you're not that good at sales right now, but if you take hundreds of sales calls, you will get good. So in my experience, you will likely struggle with selling at first, especially if you've never sold a single thing in your life. But again, right, there's only one thing that you can do to improve the skill, and that's practice, right? No surprise there. You practice playing basketball. The first time you shoot a basket, probably miss, you might airball it, but you shoot that ball 1,000 times, and by the 1,000th time, maybe you won't be airballing it. Maybe it won't necessarily be going in all the time, but at least you'll be somewhat more accurate and you'll be better at shooting that basketball. And that's the principle I want you to adopt. Now, with that being said, if you are able to generate 10 sales calls in a month for your own lead generation agency, which is very, very low, 10 is very low. I actually have a video from a few months back that I used as a sales asset myself to reach out to clients, where I booked 16 sales calls in a single week. You will quickly realize that 10 is very low, right? I was booking 16 a week. 10 is nothing in a month, right? But let's say, to keep the number simple, that you generate 10 sales calls. Understand that that's 10 opportunities for you to practice and to get better at selling. And by the 10th call, you'll be much, much better than your first call. That's just how it works. And on the fact, you should also keep in mind that you need to be recording your Zoom calls, and you need to make sure you're listening back on them so that you're able to quickly identify things that maybe you're saying that maybe you wouldn't say next time in a similar situation, or maybe you hear your prospect talking about themselves, they have a problem and you didn't catch it on the call, and maybe you should have asked another question, a more probing question, learn more about the situation, stuff like that. And that way you're able to improve really, really quick. Now, I know for myself, and a lot of people I know, they really don't like listening to their voice, and that was myself in the beginning, but trust me, it just has to be done. If you like making money, then you just have to do it, right? And honestly, it's not that bad. After you listen to yourself talk, let's say 10, 15, 20 times, you will really get used to your own voice, and it's not going to be that cringe. I struggled with this, but I just had to overcome that mindset of me cringing over my own voice, and now I have no problem listening to my own voice. And I personally spend, when I'm at the gym, I personally record my Zoom calls, so while I'm benching or doing bicep curls or whatever, I'm listening in on my sales calls and seeing what I could do to improve that. So that's personally what I do. Find some time to allocate towards listening to your replays. That will probably be one of the best things you can do to improve quickly in sales without actually getting onto sales calls, right? So basically, after you hop on a few hundred sales calls, you will become much better at it, guaranteed. There's just no way that you don't if you follow what I'm telling you, which is practicing and listening back to your sales recordings and making small little iterations here and a little small iteration there. You will get better, guaranteed. So that's pillar number 2, which is sales. Now, pillar 3 is service delivery. Now, this is what I think is arguably the most important part of your business if you're running a service-based business, if you're running a lead generation agency, because we are building a business that will make money over the course of the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, and hopefully until whenever you decide to stop or retire or pivot to something else, right? You have to understand that even though, let's say for someone like myself, I found success relatively quickly. Now, I wouldn't even say quickly because I went 2 years without making money in any of my businesses. But then once I figured out how it works, I was able to go from $0 to $10,000 a month in 22 days. And now for some of you, you might listen to that and think, oh, I got rich really, really quick. And by the way, I'm not even rich. But for some of you, you might think that was really, really quick. But you also have to understand that, yeah, you may have made money in a very short period of time, but can you sustainably make a lot of money over a long period of time? You really have to ask yourself that. And the number one way of doing so is by making your product and making your service so good that you will always have customers for life, right? The idea is you need to ensure you're delivering the most amount of value possible to your clients. So let's use Apple as an example. Let's use the iPhone, right? So I have an iPhone. And I know earlier, a couple months ago, when Apple released the iPhone 15, I actually saw on like a news article about how people were lining up to buy iPhone 15, right? And now you might not think that's crazy, but really stop and think about it. People are literally lining up outside in the cold overnight for a couple hours, begging Apple to take their money, right? People are doing this knowing that they're about to spend $2,000 on the new iPhone 15. And the reason why they're able to do this is because Apple understood the concept of making your product so good, you're taken care of for life. So once you master this aspect, you will literally never worry about money ever again. You need to make sure your service is top tier and you need to make sure it's delivering value. So that's the example I wanted to use while I was writing this. I was looking at my phone and I was like, yeah, that's a really good example to use. So if you figure out a way to deliver exceptional results, you will not have to focus as much time on generating leads and closing deals. Because in the beginning, this is literally the transition that I went through. This is the transition that every single person I know who's making good money in their business has made. In the beginning, when you're first getting started, the goal is for you to sign as many people as possible. You want to collect as much cash up front. That way you can reinvest back in your business to fuel the growth of your business. You want to work with as many people as humanly possible. And that way you're also able to learn really, really quick, because you working with 3 clients you will learn so much quicker than working with only one person, right? But that's just common sense, right? So in the beginning, you want to focus on working with as many people as possible because you're still a beginner and you don't have the ability to be very picky with who you want to work with. But after a while, after 3, 4, 5, 6 months of you doing that, you have tons of cash now that you have reinvested back into building systems. You're better at closing deals. You have a better offer. You have case studies, stuff like that. Now you will be able to start being picky. Now, I know in my own lead generation agency business, last month in October, we collected almost $35,000 cash, which is significantly more than $10,000. But now I'm only working with 6 clients in my business. Right? Only 6 clients that are paying me over $5,000 a month. And the reason why I was able to do so was because rather than going out and trying to sign as many people as possible, now I'm focused on working with very specific amount of people that I know I could get really good results for, that I enjoy working with, that are great people because they're working with other people that I enjoy working with. And those people are taking care of me and my business and my employees, my team members, and I'm able to reinvest back into my business and buy back my time. So that's what I wanted to say, right? So now the good news about a lead generation agency is, in terms of service delivery, is the process that you use to generate meetings for yourself. It's very similar to how you go about generating meetings for your clients, because at the end of the day, we're just booking them sales calls. If you understand how to book sales calls for your own offer, for your own lead generation services, it's not that different booking meetings for your clients. It's really kind of a plug and play type of scenario. You're switching out your business and your offer for your client's business and your client's offer. And if you are smart with who you work with, it might actually be easier, right? Certain offers are easier to sell than others. Some clients, they have case studies. Actually, a lot of clients that you will end up working with will probably have case studies because those are businesses that are able to pay you thousands of dollars, meaning they are relatively successful. They will have case studies, so it might be easier to deliver service and get the meetings versus getting meetings yourself initially, right? So understand it's kind of plug and play. And over time, you will also figure out and learn what type of clients that you want to work with and which clients you enjoy working with. Right? It's not about which ones will pay you. It's about which ones you want to work with. You will figure out what niche that you enjoy working in. I made a separate video talking about niches, and I don't want to spend too much time on that, but essentially there's a lot of people online telling you to pick this niche, this is the perfect niche, all of this, but that's kind of what I mean by every single person I know who runs a successful agency, they have worked with 3 to 4 to 5 different niches because they're experimenting. I worked with so many different niches. I have had clients in almost every single B2B industry you can think of. But at the end of the day, I've always resorted back to recruitment agencies because personally, I just like working with recruitment agency owners. I find them to be very pleasant business people. I just have a way of talking with them that I'm just unable to with, let's say, software development agencies, because those guys are a little bit more technical and I don't have that strong of a technical background as the business in school versus people who are running development agencies who are probably engineers or coders and stuff like that. So I was able to figure out what type of clients I wanted to work with and which clients I wanted to work with if given the choice. And that will be your path that you will end up working with as well. But it's a matter of time, right? Don't be too picky in the beginning because you just need to collect cash so that you can pay off your bills, you can pay off your debt, and you can reinvest it back into your business and fuel your growth. The overarching idea is the goal is to build a business that prints cash, and you don't want to build a business that you're waking up every single day, pulling out your hairs, completely stressed out. And the goal by doing so, the way to achieve a business, a lifestyle business that's able to make you thousands of dollars every single month without you being overly stressed is by having strong service delivery, delivering tons of value for your clients, and eventually systematizing your operations. But that's obviously a completely different story because don't worry about systematizing your operations when you don't have your first clients or you're not at $10,000 a month or $15,000 a month. But basically, I wanted to record this video to talk about those 3 pillars. Again, if you're completely a beginner and you're just looking to start, or maybe you have a client or 2 clients and you're looking to grow it to $10,000 a month, follow these 3 things, wake up every single day. If you hear some advice from myself, you hear advice from someone else, don't just blindly take it. Ask yourself, which of these 3 buckets does that advice, does that action fall under? And what's the direct revenue generating action? And if it doesn't fall under any of these buckets or it's not generating you revenue, then my advice is to just push it off a little bit until you're making money, right? But that's what I wanted to get to talk about in this video today. Hope you found it valuable and take care. Bye-bye.